Greetings, this is Amy Wentley with Chai Knuckles Knitting, and this video covers the double start cast on. This is also sometimes called the Estonian cast on, and this is one of a series of videos covering cast ons that you can use for knitting. A link to the playlist is in the description below and on my blog at chaiknucklesknitting.com. So before you start the double start cast on, you're going to need to measure out a tail. There is a video in my playlist on how to do that. In this case, I'm going to cast on about 10 stitches, and so I'm going to wrap the yarn around my needle 10 times to get an approximation of how long my tail needs to be. And I will drop those stitches off my needle, and at this point I'll make a slip knot. And in order to make a slip knot, I'll go ahead and make a loop in the yarn like this, and I will pull the yarn through that loop, and that leaves me with a slip knot. I'll go ahead and put the slip knot on my needle. Now this cast on requires a two-step process. The first step is actually going to be very much like a long tail cast on, and then the second step will just be a little bit different than that. So let's get started. You'll need to start in the slingshot position like for a long tail cast on. I'll show you once how to do that here. If you want to see it a few more times, go check out the long tail cast on. But I'm going to go ahead and have my tail over here, my working yarn over here. I'm going to insert my finger and thumb in between those two, grab the yarns, and I'll be set up in a slingshot position. So I'm going to start. The first stitch is going to be like a long tail cast on. So I'm going to go around to the outside of my thumb and grab that yarn, come around to get the yarn on my finger and pull it through the loop here. And then I'll be set up in the slingshot position again. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to change the position of the yarn on my thumb. You can see here that the yarn is going from the needle to my thumb, around the back of my thumb and to the front. And I want to change that. And I'm going to drop my thumb out and I'm going to come around so that now the yarn is coming from my needle to the front of my thumb, around the back and down to my palm. Then I'm going to take my needle and I'm going to dip it under the yarn on the near side of my thumb, and I'm going to reach over, and just like with the long tail, I'm going to grab that yarn on my finger, I'm going to pull it through the loop, and then I'm going to tug. So this process gave me two stitches. The first one that was like the long tail, and the second one which was reversed. This was my slip knot here. So I'm going to go through this whole process again, and we're going to make two more stitches. And I'm going to start again, like from the very beginning, with the slingshot position, like the long tail cast on. And I'm going to go to the outer yarn on my thumb, grab the yarn from my finger and pull it through that loop. And I'm going to drop the yarn off my thumb, tug it tight, and I'm going to be set up in the slingshot position again. But now I'm going to reposition the yarn on my thumb, and I do that by dropping the yarn and coming under it. And now the yarn is going from my needle around the top of my thumb, then around the back to my palm. I'm going to take my right hand needle and I'm going to scoop under the near strand of yarn off my thumb, grab the yarn off my finger and pull it through the loop. Then I'm going to drop the yarn off my thumb, tug it, and then be set up again in the slingshot position. I'll do that one more time for you. I'm going to be doing like a long tail cast on to the outside of my thumb, grab the yarn off my finger, pull it through and tug. I'm back in the slingshot position. I'm going to reposition my thumb. So I drop the yarn off my thumb and scoop under so that now the yarn's going over my thumb towards the back. I'm going to take my needle and I'm going to scoop up the yarn on the inside of my thumb, grab the yarn off my finger, pull it through the loop, and pull tight. Now I'll just do a couple more that you can watch. I won't talk through them, but you can see how we do it. Okay, so what this does is sets up pairs of stitches on your needle, and you'll see that each one of these pairs has a pretty strand under it. So there's one there, one there, one there. So this cast on makes a very pretty decorative edge. Now this is on this side. If you turn around, the decorative edge isn't there anymore, it's just purl bumps. So you want to bear that in mind, that if you use this as a cast on, you'll want the first row that you actually knit to be your wrong side, so on the right side you'll be able to see those pretty strands across the front. This does give you a stretchy edge, it's good for that, and it's good for anything where you need a stretchy edge, like a hat, tops of socks, cuffs on your sleeves, even a neckline. So that is the double start cast on, and please look for other videos on my playlist, and I'll see you soon. Bye bye.